management students who don't.
They can't come. They're not invited.
They're the only ones being invited. No. Um, what would it take to, what do we need to do to start the discussion for having the absorbing them?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I can just stop by the club and find out right now.
To absorb them, to like include them in our distributions and invite them, like basically make them honorary members of the society. Oh,
Also, did you see the email regarding projects? They want to do
what was that?
um,
The DECA thing?
yeah.
I wasn't sure what that meant. What does DECA mean?
So I think it's just like National Honor Society for like high
Yeah,
schoolers.
yeah.
I think it's kind of like that for um college students.
Oh, is that all?
You participate in competitions, and it's almost like
Uh,
a better planned version of what we do with the Webster's University. And I responded with that. I didn't know if you wanted me to respond to that because she's like high society, and I was like, okay, this me because it's Tick Chapman, but I'm CC'd, so I just kind of
Interesting. Good. I'm glad you responded to that.
love
So,
your
what are they? What she was talking about? Competitions, competitive events.
yeah.
I mean, what would be the basis of the competition?
Whatever answer you want. Good. Sorry. Yes.
Two students. Interesting.
And then 45,
What time did baby wake
she actually slept pretty good.
up? Oh, but you don't.
No.
Uh,
No, but it was good though. Like I
Hmm.
when I got my shoe wet, as far as like applications goes, I did a couple things for other students. So like their grade division.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just because Brother Galbraith thinks I should be now. He's like, dude, you're close.
Or more. I don't see operations. I mean,
He thinks you're 6'1". Yeah, which I'm like,
on the DECA, they have a couple of different interesting areas. There's entrepreneurship operations. I mean, that might be interesting.
but the case studies.
Yeah.
But
For an afterthought.
when do you graduate?
Anyways, it's not terribly clear what that is.
Like 2 months.
Yeah. Oh, you graduate in July.
Yeah. But I can start working until October, and all the jobs I'm hearing back are as like they need it right away.
Well, it's 2 o'clock. Shall we start? Did you get that email? What'd you think?
You could say that we're mean.
I just can't
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're probably about 80% there with the code you have. So that's what we should do for our next. We should do stand-up comedy at the society meetings. JC's gonna be the stand-up.
Oh, I see. Right. So.
That's actually fun.
Yeah.
Let's go crash, right? Let's crash now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students today. What in turn? 7? How many are on the rolls?
Brother Chapman. Yeah, you know this, but I'm always
Raining. It's there. Well, there's one more.
never miss one.
I think you did once in 361. I think you did. I think you told me about it like 2 months in advance, and then again like 7 weeks in advance, all the way down to like. Just kidding.
If I did,
I don't remember. I don't remember. It seems like
I don't think I did.
seems like you would have told me.
I have not missed.
That's up to date.
That's great.
Well, then,
I've missed more than you. Let's put it that way.
I did.
Well, let's start. Small room. Anybody want to volunteer? Nick's? Who wants? Elijah's not going to say the prayer because he's wearing a Knicks t-shirt right now. Okay, will you say the prayer, Elijah? Even though OKC's gonna win, it's fine. Yeah, that's true. Fine.
Heavenly Father, for this day, I'm thankful for everything that does. Grateful to be here in class, and yes, that's great to be with us. That we'll be able to learn what we need to. Yes, good rest of our day. Say these things in Jesus' name.
Amen. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, here's where we're at. We have Paul Pierce coming to speak to us tomorrow for the Supply Chain Society. You guys should come. Former financial controller, current BOE. We have some students that have taken his classes. So think about it. Tomorrow, 2:20, 11:30. Should be fun. Should be great. Okay, what are we gonna do today? Today we're gonna continue with VBA, ranges and cells. This is good stuff right here. Hopefully you get a sense for kind of the repetition of this VBA. You're getting a sense for the learning over and over and over again. Welcome, welcome. So let's just dive in. Let's do ranges and cells, June 3rd. There is there's a file to download right here, XLSM file. So we'll download it. And then we need to unblock it. So I'll download this file. I'll open where it's at, and I will right click and go to properties and unblock the file. Beautiful. Now we're ready to go. I'll go ahead and open this file up. And man, there it is right here. Okay, raise your hand if you've ever had the experience where your boss comes to you and says, "Can you make sense of this data for me?" Anybody ever had that experience? Does what count?
Teacher.
Does a teacher count? No, like a boss, like a real boss. Like here's some data. What do you think of this data? Kind of an interesting experience. When you guys look at this data, what does this look like? Can you make any sense of this? Just a whole bunch of numbers. Whole bunch of numbers. And let's see how many rows, right? We've got 3,200 rows of numbers. And the columns are not very, okay, there's age. AGE, is that a word or is that just happen to be some kind of weird initials? RHI, VST, POP, EDU. So it turns out that the data dictionary suggests what these column names are. So this provides some pretty good explanation about each of these columns. So for example, resident population, resident total population. This looks like some information about the census. This is all census data, as it turns out. Per capita income, median household income, personal income, with different years, right? Just a whole bunch of pretty interesting census. Here's one, total number of firms. That's an interesting one. Manufacturing, total value of shipments, 2002. How about that? Did you know you can actually identify total manufacturing from the census data? Pretty cool. Land area in square miles, population per square mile, whole bunch of data. Okay, so that helps us find out what the columns are. What do you think these rows are? Any thoughts? Anybody figured it out?
Apparently they're geographical codes.
Geographical codes. How'd you pick that up?
Like, well, they identify.
Oh, nice. What does it say? Just out of curiosity. I don't even know what that means.
Bureau stands for the American National Standards Institute.
Oh, okay.
They are code codes, standardized numeric alphabetical, used to uniformly identify geographic entities across all government agencies. But it does link their side to county like that. It might be a form, or they are in a way.
Yes, yes, they are. So we have on the third tab here, county names. And if we look at this carefully, look at this column right here. So here is a column, 1000, 1001, 3579, there's some space there, interestingly enough, right? So it's not just one by one. This column here should be the same as this column here, right? So we have 0, 1000, 1001. And so this is loosely all of the counties in the country. And that's what this data set is. So this is census data for each county. Now notice also, right, there is some states here. Here's Alabama at 1000. Here's Alaska at 2000. So there is some state level information as well, right? We could go here, and this is Alabama, right? Where was the manufacturing one? I want to look at that in Alabama. What did that say? Manufacturing was MAN. So if we come over here to the MAN column, oh, interesting. 66 million. Not bad. $66 million of manufacturing output for Alabama. Pretty cool, actually. So we have this information here. What we're going to do today is we are going to use this information to try to make some comparisons, right? As we can see, this data is not very easy to compare specific counties. So if we were given this data, one of the things we might want to do is be able to compare a couple of different counties, right? So let's just do a little search here. What is Madison County, Idaho? Let's see if that's in here. Madison County, Idaho. Nope, doesn't exist. Wait, is that really true? There's Iowa. There's got to be Idaho. 16065. Oh, maybe there's an extra space. I probably didn't put, there's probably 2 spaces. Yeah, there's Idaho. Got it. 16065. So what if we wanted to compare Madison County to another county? Which county should we compare it to? Davis County. Davis County, Utah. That's an interesting one. Okay, let's do it. So here's how we're going to set this up. Let's create a new sheet here. I'll come over here, create a new sheet, and let's name this comparison sheet. Comparison. 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 There we go. I'll move this over to the first position, just so it's right there. And let's do this. So let's go ahead and copy this data dictionary column. What we'll do is we will set this up so that I'm going to copy column B. This is going to be a one-time copy. I'll copy column B from the data dictionary. I'm going to put that in column A of the comparison. I'm just going to paste it in there. This is going to provide us basically a way to understand what these numbers mean. And then we'll have a, let's say we have a county that we put in here for column B. And then we can put another county in for C and D. We can kind of compare these counties. What did I put in the worksheet?
Yeah, like all that copy.
Oh, from here, from data dictionary. Yeah. So I just copied column B here to column A here. And let's make this really slick. How about over here in A1? Let's do a data validation. When's the last time you guys have done data validation? Did you write that down in your journals? Well, today you can write it down in your journal. Let's do a data validation. What we'll do is we'll make this field right here searchable, okay? So how do we do data validation? We come up to data and we do data validation. Where to go? It's over here somewhere in the data tab. And notice in the data validation window that pops up, I've selected A1. Right now it says, hey, you can do any value for A1. Totally cool. And so again, I've clicked on A1. I'm on the comparison sheet, clicked on A1. After I pasted in this long column of data dictionary values, I just came over here to data validation and pops open this window, right? So instead of any value, let's do a list. And let's go grab the list of counties, right? So we're going to data validate. We're going to force this cell right here to be one of the counties. So let's go to county names and let's choose like this whole column, right? Let's do the entire column of names and let me try that again. That way we can get all of the county names in here. And when we click on this little drop down here, look at that. We can select any of these counties, which is pretty cool. So we could select Madison. We could start typing it in, do a little drop down, Madison, Idaho, right there. Beautiful. Okay, not bad, right? A little data validation. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't it just validate you? It's the dual role of data validation. It validates you and it validates the cell. So powerful. Yeah, yeah. Remember this? You guys did this in BA 215, right? That's what I thought. So I just selected A1, went to the data tab and clicked on this data validation right there. Pulls this up here and I went to list. So click on list and then you select what the list is. And that's it. Pretty slick. Oh, because so after I did that, I actually typed it in. So I started to type it in and then it recognizes, oh, you must mean one of the, holy cow, that's a lot of Madison counties. Like 22 different Madison counties. Okay, here's a question. How many Washington counties are there? That's actually a lot. I think that's more. What about Hamilton? Ooh, Madison beat Hamilton. Franklin? Wow, Franklin and Washington, close. Daytona? What? County? There's no Daytona counties at all in the country. What about Columbus? One. Not bad. Ooh, is there more Lincoln than Washington? How did we get on this topic? Okay, we could find that out pretty quickly, right? I'll save that for the interested student who wants to do that. I'll just go back to Madison for now. Okay, so we've selected Madison. Um, okay, great. So at this point, now what we want to do is when we select a county here, we want to kind of pull all of that data into this spreadsheet. So let's do some coding. Let me pop open my Visual Basic window here. Notice there's no module here. So I'm going to right click, insert module. Here we go. Let's get to work. And we're going to create some VBA module. So we're in module 1 and let's create some VBA. Let's create a sub. Let's call this sub. Whoops, let me put it in here. Sub get county data. How about that? We're just going to start a sub. And let's create an object for this comparison worksheet that we just created. So dim compare as a worksheet. And we'll set this compare object up. We'll reference this sheet. So we'll do this workbook dot worksheets and we'll call it compare. Actually, comparison is the name. There we go. Okay, so that's all we got so far. The question is, how do we connect this, right? If we're choosing a county by name here, how do we connect that name to this data here that doesn't have a name, right? There's no county name here. So the challenge we have here is we're going from the name of the county to the number of the county. And there's a couple different ways to do that. Here's one way. Let's do a find, right? We can come in here to this county names sheet and we can say, look for this county name right here. And we know it's going to be on this list because that is by definition the data validation, right? That's what we're using for the data validation. So when we select a county here, we know it's going to be on this list. So what we can do is we can take that name We can find it on this sheet. We can go grab the number of that. Madison, Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia. We can find Madison, Idaho, and we can come over here. 1, 2, 3 cells to the left, which is like a negative number. We'll offset that. We'll grab this number, 16065, and we'll take that over to the data set. We'll find that row, and then we'll pull all of those numbers into the spreadsheet. That's what we're going to do. What was that number? 16. Wow, you guys are good at this. That's it. That's the row we want. And we're going to automate this, right? So that we can do this really quickly and really fast, and we can compare these all of this data, right? So once we have this number here, we're going to copy this entire row, and we're going to paste it and transpose it here. Just lickety split. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So one of the first things we need to do is we need to search. So once we know what this name is here, we need to grab that name and search it in this list. Question?
You were just like 30 seconds, yeah, that right there. Everyone's still-
Oh, sure. You guys coming in? We had some, is everybody good? Oh, yeah, yeah, good catch. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. This workbook. This workbook, there it is. See, now it capitalizes it for me. It says, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Workbook. JC, you're okay, JC. I don't care what they say about you. You're okay, buddy. You're okay. You are okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You told him I was a dog.
Not dog, oh my.
At the-
Yeah.
Houston? Nice.
Was the option explicit meeting here?
Oh yeah, good question. Option explicit. When we declare a variable, well, what it means is we can't use a variable without declaring it. If option explicit there. So we're saying explicitly list your variables. If you take that out, you can actually create a variable in your code and without defining it. And most cases, I shouldn't say most, generally that works okay. But it can be very difficult because it will assign it a data type that you don't expect. And so it will do funny things on the back end without letting you know a thing. You know what I mean? So it's a little, Microsoft's philosophy is it's trying to make it easier for the user, right? So there's multiple ways to do the same thing. And one of the downsides is if you don't specifically tell them what's your data type, what type of object is this, then you could mess it up. It already put in. Maybe I mentioned this before. If you go up to tools and objects, there's an option here called require variable declaration. If you check that, then every time you start a new module, it will automatically include option explicit there, which is pretty slick. Yeah. Oh, sorry, right there. Sorry. Tools, options on a Mac, I'm not sure where it's at. But tools, options, and then the editor tab here, it's this require variable declaration. So I check that. And that will produce the option explicit on the next module that you create. So it doesn't put it in right now, but it'll put it in when you create a new one. Yeah, good question. I'm glad you brought that up. Please.
Like the accuracy where it's like correct label give you message like data format or it's okay.
That is the hard part because it doesn't tell you, right? It does manipulations and it does additions and subtractions, whatever the calculation is, and it doesn't tell you what it will move forward, making the best judgment that it thinks you want. And it's dangerous, right? It's powerful, but the intent is to be nice. It turns out that it can be fairly destructive and very, very hard to debug. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. No question. I mean, this IDE is like 30 years old. 30, I mean, in technology, this is like ancient dinosaur history. Yeah, no question. There are some add-ins you can get to actually make it a little bit better, but kind of, please, question.
On that application page, no? So when I started this work, I played, I didn't have the module.
Right here.
Yeah, yeah. I think module you're working with the module one.
Right. I had to insert it. Did you right-click insert?
Just did it.
Okay, great.
But so before I did it, I was working in this web. I clicked on it and I saw the same option and I was working there. Will that be correct? Will that work if I want?
Yeah.
So, yeah, when it comes out just before the module.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. We're going to talk about that today. Right now, we want to do all of our VBA modules. And then I'll show you an example today of when we don't use the module. It's fairly rare. So most of the time we want to be in the modules.
Is it because if you click inside the workbook, that the PPA code will work inside the workbook?
Right? Right? Or inside a sheet. Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, we do. User forms. We'll do message boxes. Yeah. Input forms, message boxes. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, great. So we've set this up. We've got the object. We're in the module. What's next? We need to do a find. So we've done a little bit of a find before when we were searching for the PE ratio and doing some other searching. What we need to do is we need to find where this county is at. So let me show you a couple things here, and then we'll get to the real code because I want to demonstrate conceptually what we're doing. So I'm going to throw in a little bit of an example here. You can watch this or you can follow along if you kind of want to do it yourself, but I'm going to do a little bit of example and then change it for our purposes here. I'm going to just set up a object as a range object. So here's R. And when I do this and I do R dot, I get IntelliSense, right? This is VBA's, helpful list of properties and methods that go along with this object, right? That I can use for this range object. And what I want to use is the find object. So if I type in F, there is the find method. So I can use the find method for my R object. And what this does is this gives me all of these little inputs right here, which is pretty nice. Here are all the options or parameters that I can use inside of the find method. And what I'm really trying to find is I'm trying to find the county in the other spreadsheet. Which other spreadsheet was it? I already forgot. In the county name spreadsheet, right? So I'm going to select a county here. I want to take the value of that cell and I want to find it on this sheet. And so how would that look like? What would that look like? I'm going to do something like this. First, I'm going to take the value from the compare spreadsheet and set, that's the object that we created, right? So I'm going to take compare and I'm going to say range A1. So one of the ways that we talk about ranges is like range A1, right? I want the value of that cell. That's what I'm trying to find, right? What am I trying to find? I'm trying to find that value. And there's a whole bunch of other parameters here. What I really want is, I don't want the after or the look in, but I want the look at. So I'm going to put 3 commas here. I'm going to skip these. I'm going to go to this parameter by using commas, right? There's a whole bunch of options. And I'm just using commas to say, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want this. This is what I want. And what I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at the whole cell. So I'm going to say XL whole. That's a parameter that says, in fact, you've seen this when you do the Control F in Excel. There's an option there that says match entire contents of cell. This is the VBA way of selecting that option, right? XL whole. And that's going to look, that's what my find is going to be. I'm going to find that value using that syntax there. Okay. But where do I need to search for it? I don't want to search for it in R. I want to search for it on the county names sheet. So I'm going to come over here, and what do you see up here? I think I mentioned this before. When you look at these sheet names up here, county names, the one in the parentheses, is the name in the tab, right? But somebody's already come around here and changed the code name of that sheet to be counties. So I can actually use the code name directly in the code. VBA recognized that and says, oh, you're talking about this sheet right there, counties. Yes, I am. Counties plural is the name of the county names sheet. It's like the code name. The user doesn't see it. It's only VBA. So I'm saying take that sheet and I'm saying, look at the columns, look at the fourth column. So a part of that sheet is the fourth column. So counties.columns 4, it's the fourth column. I want you to find that value. Does that make sense? That's what we're going to do. Now this is red because I'm not going to actually do anything with what I find. So I can take those out. I can activate it, but I don't want to activate it. I just want to find where that's at. So let's do this. Let's create, instead of an R as a range, let's do county. And let's say I want to find that county on that spreadsheet. So I'm going to change my R to a county, dim county as range. And then what I also want to do is I want to set the county equal to what I find. And that way it works out really well. Does that sound good? Any questions there? That's right. Yeah, so when I use the find, I'm saying go to this sheet in the compare sheet, look at A1, whatever that value is, that's what I want to use in my find on this sheet in this column. Oh, right here? Oh, right here. Yeah, dim counties, I'm just creating a new object. I'm saying give me another place of memory to refer to the county that we find in this sheet, right? It's going to search for it in this sheet. It's going to find it. Oh, right there. And it's going to set it to a county object. That's the county we're really interested in on that sheet, in that column. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Okay, great. Let's see. Once we know what the county, let's just find that, shall we? What if we just go to that? Let me put a stop right here and let's run it. Let's see what happens. So if I come back here to my comparison and I've selected Madison, Idaho, let's just run this and what happens? Okay, so we've run this, we've hit stop. If I come up here to my immediate window, what did it find? Did it find anything? If I use county as my object because we created this county, there it is. See, if I just mouse over, actually, it says, oh yeah, I know what you're looking for. You wanted me to search for Madison in the county sheet and put that right here in this object. That's Madison, Idaho. So if I go up here and say, give me the county, I can see the value. There's the value of the county. I can say, what's the address of county? D596. Okay, that's interesting. Which sheet is that referring to? It's actually referring to the county's sheet, right? So if I go back to my county sheet here, I go down to D596. There it is. So it found it. So we can attach all of these properties of an object because we've created this range object. We have all these properties for this county object that we found, right? So we found it, we set it as a county, and we're looking here at different ways to talk about ranges and cells and ranges. So here's one way, range A1, Here's another way. Columns 4. We're talking about all the cells in the fourth column. Okay. Okay, great. Now that we know which column, we know, what do we do next? We need to know which row that is, right? So let's create, because we're going to take this row, and now that we have this county, we know which row this is on. And then we're going to go back to our data, and we're going to say, give me all of the data on that row. So let's go back to the code and actually also create a data row range. So let me come down here and create a dim data row as range. So we can also create another object for the entire data row. And the way that would work is I could come down here. After we set the county, I can actually set the data row. What is the data row? The data row is going to be what we found here, right? On this sheet, but what we're looking for is the row in the data set now, right? So we're saying we want to go find the number on the data sheet, which is pretty cool. So how do we do that? We're looking at the data, and it turns out there's the code name for the data sheet is just data. So I can type in data. The data, again, the data set here in the parentheses is referring to the label of the worksheet, but not the code name. So data here is the code name of that worksheet. And here is another way to represent a range. I can do a hard bracket A1. Isn't that cool? I don't even need the quotes. I can just refer to the hard bracket A1 cell. So on the data tab in that worksheet, A1. That is another way to reference a cell. I could do data A1 up here. Oh, it doesn't like my syntax. Let me come back to that in a second. That's my cell, right? That's another way to refer to another cell is just hard brackets with the cell designation A3. So in this case, for this line, I'm trying to get the entire row of data. I'll start with data A1. But what I'm really looking for now that I have the number of the county, I need to pull in the entire row of data. So we'll do data A1, and I'm going to say entire column because I'm looking in the A1 column, right? We're on the data tab. We're going to look at this A1 column to find the county's number. So I'll say entire column, and then I'm going to do a find. And I'm going to say find, and I'm going to copy this find up here. I'm going to make a change. Find the number of that county. But this range right here is simply the name. So I'm going to change this a little bit. What am I going to search for? I'm going to search for the county value. So remember, we're searching now. The county is referring to Madison, Idaho. We have this value, the county here, Madison, Idaho, but it's a range, it's object, right? So it knows it's not just the name of Madison County, right? This variable is not just the name. It says the name, Madison, Idaho, right? But it's actually a range object. So it knows where it is in the spreadsheet. So I'm going to say, yeah, I want you to find the number of this county. And this is kind of cool because we're going to use an offset. So after county here, I am going to say dot offset. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset 0 rows, but -3 columns. And I'm going to delete the range A1 reference there. So what I'm saying is I know what this county is. The county is Madison County. That's from the county's worksheet, right? We just set that up. From that cell, I want you to go left 3 columns. That's what that offset is saying. So if we look at that on the county names, if I go here, that's what that object is. 1, 2, 3, that's going to give me the county number, right? This is the county object that we created right here. In this case, Madison, Idaho. Here's my county. And now I'm offsetting 0, 3. Same row, 3 columns to the left. Give me that value and use that value to search on the data tab. How about that? In the A1 column, right? In A1 column, entire column, search for the value of that county in that column. And then the last thing we need to add here at the very end is give me the entire row. So there's a property called entire row. Let me move this over just a little bit so you can see that. Right? So at the end of this, we're saying, give me I want the entire row. Put that into my range object. So data row now contains all of the data from this row when we run that. Not bad. Okay. How we doing? Pretty good? This is good stuff. Questions, comments, concerns?
By adding the entire row, is that full the entire row? Or like the entire, oh no, just like from across, right?
Yeah. It's just taking that entire row of data and it's basically what you're doing is the data row is like a reference to that row.
So negative three, so that's pulling from the ID list, if we can just pull the entire row, where's that?
Yeah, good question. This -3 here, what we're doing here is we're making sure that we have the right row. So we're using this to find, like, so if I copy this and run this up here, this is going to tell us, oh, you're looking for Madison, Idaho, the county, but you want me to offset 3 cells to the left to get the number. What is that number? 1605, right? So then we're saying, okay, this evaluates to 16065. Find that number, it's got to be the whole cell, inside of the entire A1 column of the data sheet.
Oh, okay, just we're taking it and then we're running it to the data sheet.
Yes.
Okay, I get it. I thought
Yes.
it was like, because I was probably
Right.
going from like the left.
Right.
We're grabbing it all, like, why did we go left, you know?
Yes. Yeah, that's a good question. Now that we know we have the right row, the entire row is like, yeah, give me the whole row. That's the row we want. So this is going to change, right? When this county changes to a different county, we're going to grab a different number here. We're going to search for that different number in the data sheet when we use the find, and it's going to grab the whole row based off that number. It's a great question. Good. Any other questions? Please.
So if we want this, good way to do that is just the good create.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fun ways we could use offset to get around this spreadsheet, right? Offset's really, really powerful. Yeah. Okay, great. What's next? Oh, excuse me. Once we find this, what do we do with it? Once we have, we want to go back. Yeah, we want to paste it. Once we have it, we want to paste it in here. I think that's right. If we go back here, let's put a header in here first, and then we'll paste all this data, right? So when we actually go and paste all the data, we also want just some information up here that says, oh yeah, here's the state and here's the city. And then we'll paste the data down here. So let's do a couple of headers here and then we'll paste the data. So now I'll come down here and I'll say, what I want to do is I want to take the county from the county spreadsheet and I want to pull the city and the state and put them in this comparison up here as headers. How's that sound? So what I'm going to do is I'll come here and I'll say, in the compare spreadsheet, remember we set up the compare spreadsheet right here, and that's referring to this comparison sheet. Another way that we can refer to a range is by using the cells notation. We've seen this. There's two options here, a row index and a column index. So if I wanted to put let's say the state value in here, I could do cells one, first row, second row, first row, second column, right? So I could do row one, column two, right? That would work. In addition to that, and I could say value, and I could say put something into that cell. In addition to that way, I could also just say cells two dot value. This is one way that cells allows us just to count the number of cells, right? So in this entire spreadsheet, it starts at the top left, and it goes all the way on the first row, all the way over, and then it goes to the next row, and it keeps counting. So if there's just one number inside of cells, it's saying which number is it? It's going to be the second cell over, right?
If you put a forward and forces over
That's it.
whatever goes right here.
That's right. No, it would start at the top. If there's only one number, it would start at the very top left and count individual cells until it gets there, right? For example, each row is how many columns is this? Active cell dot column 16,384. So if I put if I did this, if I did if I did cells 16,385, yeah, that's right. It would be that cell right there, right? It would be the second row, the first cell in the second row, because we went all the way to the end and we added one more, and so that put us on the second row. So in this case, we'll just do two. So cells two dot value is equal to, we're going to use the county object. We're referring to the county object again. County dot offset. And let's offset again. Let's see, how do we want to offset? 1, 2, 3. Do we want to offset the 3 and then grab the number? How about that? Should we just grab the number, or should we grab the state? What do you guys want to grab for the header? The number or the county or the state? You want to grab the state? Okay, so that would be negative what? That'd be 0, comma, -1, because we're offsetting from column D, right? That's the one we searched for. If we offset 1, that's going to be the Idaho state. And we're saying put that back into the spreadsheet. Now, let me be a little bit more crazy. How about this? There's another way to refer to cells. Let's go back to offset -3. So we know if I'm here, if I'm offsetting -3, 1, 2, 3, it's going to take me back to the 16065. There's another way to do this, and this is a little bit confusing, but very powerful. I can actually do a dot range, and I can say C1. Okay, now what is that going to do? What's interesting here is this range A1 is a property of what? What is this range A1 a property of? It's a property of a sheet, right? There's a dot right before it. What does this compare refer to?
Oh, the worksheet.
The worksheet, that's right. So this range A1 object is actually a property of the sheet, okay? Look at this range C1. What is this range C1 a property of? What's just left of it? This is an offset. It's actually a range. There's like a cell, right? We're looking at a particular cell at that point. So it's not a property of the worksheet. It's a property of a range. Yes, that's it, right? You said it so well. And because of that, it's a little bit different. In other words, what this means here is that when we use a range as a property of another range, it's like we're restarting the spreadsheet. In other words, range C1 here is not referring to C1 up here, right? This is not the C1 it's referring to. It turns out Yes, exactly right. It's saying it's range C1 as if this offset 0, -3 was range A1. Does that make sense? That's the range as a property of another range. Yes, exactly. There's a little bit of recursiveness going on. The reason why I bring this up is because VBA, when you record macro, often this is how a macro is recorded. It will do a range as a part of another range. And there's no, you know what, somebody could argue there's no good reason to do that. Somebody at Microsoft thought it was a good idea. So I don't know why they did it that way. It's not necessarily intuitive. But that's how VBA macros often are recorded that way.
In our case, we offset the value of our compare
That's right.
to A, column A.
That's right.
So in this case, column C of the range would be column C of the sheet equals.
That's correct. Because we're still in A, that's correct. But it doesn't always have to be that way, right? Yeah, that's a great, I like that. That's exactly, it's great logic. Yeah, in this case, we're going back 3 and we're coming back 3, right? We're going left 3, coming back 3. But we could use any range here, but that's exactly right. So it could be, we could go down rows, right? We could go to C100 or something like that. But that C100 is going to be based off of this previous range, not the A1 range. So don't let that fool you. It can get a little bit confusing though.
Why even add the offset?
We could. That's a better way to do it, I would argue. I'm just doing this more just to let you know. You'll see this in macro recordings and you'll be like, what are you talking about C1? There's no C1 involved here. But that's the way it's going to get recorded in macro recording sometimes. You'll be able to see that, oh, this range is really a property of this range instead of where we normally see it as a range as a property of a worksheet. Very different.
So is this really just helpful if you like wanna, if you have a long project and you're really trying to narrow the scope, like you got to a certain point in it, you're trying to narrow the scope.
Yeah, you can do that.
Going off.
Yeah,
Sorry.
for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So like that,
Yep.
if you said it was like harmful, is there like other weird niche kind of reasons you use this other than that or not really?
Other than that, and that VBA and the macro recorder uses it, that's about it. Because like Carson says, we could just use the offset, right? We can use the offset -1, right? And it does the same thing. So but we have to be a little bit careful here because let's be a little bit more specific. In fact, back to Hiram, your question. We're in column D here, right? -3 takes us where? Takes us back to A. But range C1, what column does that end us up in? It ends us in column C. So we don't go all the way back to D. Does that make sense? I may have implied that. That was probably incorrect to imply that. We're going to -3 this way, but C1, if this is A1, is only 2 columns over. Yeah. That's right. Because this is the offset, right? Here's our county object. We're offsetting 3, 1, 2, 3, -3, because we're going left is negative, positive would go right. We'll go left -3 from this cell. This cell is A1, right? When we're talking about this range C1. And so if this is A1, this is B1, this is C1. And it grabs the ID. Yeah, the Idaho. Kind of weird, isn't it? Very cool. So I'll put a value at the end of this. And now we've just created this Idaho. We've grabbed the state and we put it right there. Let's go ahead and run this and see what it looks like. So I can stop, I can continue. I'll just stop it and let's run this again. Here we go. See if this works. Okay, there it is. We've got Idaho B1. Excellent. Okay, let's grab the other header here. I'll do another compare.cells. Let's do a different way, just because we can. Columns 2. So in the second column, this is the second column of the sheet. Let's go inside of that column because we're saying the entire column two. Let's say cells, this is going to be a dot cells two. What that's saying is the second cell inside of the second column, right? That's another way to identify which range or cell we're talking about. The second cell in the second column. So here that would be B2. That's the one we want. Let's say that the value of that cell is equal to, and let's do county, and let's do another. Again, we're referring back to this this county. This is our county object, and let's pull in this name of the city here. And so we can do county dot entire row, and we can also do cells two dot value, right? So we're saying from this county, the entire row, give me the second cell in that entire row, right? That's just another way to identify a particular range in Excel. Question?
So we have the range formula that lets us set our own range, correct?
The range formula.
Not formula, but in the line right above that, we can obviously set our own range, the range C1.
Oh, right, right,
But that's not the only way to set a range.
correct.
The columns is another range set.
Yep,
Row does the same thing.
entire row, right?
Are there other columns that you use?
Yeah, there are. There's others. There's lots. Rows, columns, cells. Entire row, I don't use a lot. This one happens to use it twice. We'll see a couple of those throughout the semester. We'll kind of just pick them up. And you can always look for them, right? I mean, the benefit here is that with that IntelliSense, you can often find, you can also you find out what those are here in that menu. There's lots of different options here, both methods and properties. Another one we'll use is current region. I've actually used that a lot. I think there's another one called used region. I think we'll maybe it's current region. So yeah, there's a number. There's lots of them.
And with every range you set, it will create that identity, A1. You can start with any range of Excel.
As long as that range that you're talking about is a property of another range. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. Okay, great. Okay, so we've got our two headers in here now. Next, I think we're ready for the data. So let's do this. We know what our data row is. We've got that up here. Let's just copy it. Okay, data row dot, and then there's the IntelliSense. It gives us all these properties and all these methods. Let's do copy. Data row dot copy. We're going to copy the entire data row, and let's go paste it. We'll go back to the compare sheet. We'll say columns two, because we're in the second column of the comparison sheet now. We're just going to paste this all in here. Columns two dot cells three. Let's start third cell in the second column, right? So we're doing column two, the third cell of that column. And we could record this, but maybe for time purposes, I'm just going to type it in here. Paste special. There's a paste special command, right? And so we can just say dot paste special, and we're going to transpose it, right? So we're going to do transpose as an option. We do colon equals true. That's what that line looks like. Okay, we've copied it here, and now we're saying as a function of this range, we have a method. It's called paste special. And one of the parameters of that method is I want you to transpose it. Let me scroll up a little bit so you guys can see that. That's good. Okay, so we've copied the data row. We're pasting special, and we're saying transpose, which is pretty cool, right? So let's do this. Let's see if this works. Are you ready? Let's run this. Ready, set, go. Boom, look at that. There's Idaho. There's Madison. There's the code. There's the ANSI code, American National Standards Index, whatever it is. And there's all the numbers. Population, 2008, 37,000. Population 2000, 27,000. Holy cow. What's the population in 2016? I wonder. Did it really go up another 10,000? It's like oddly crazy. Anyway, population change in 8 years, 36% growth. That's crazy. So we did it. Okay, let's choose a different county, see if this works. I think I'm on stop though. Let me take my stop out or comment it out, and I'll finish this and it will run through. That will allow me to just run this again and again if I wanted to. So what if I choose another county here? What do we call? Davis County? How many Davis counties are there? It's only 3. Okay, if I select Davis County and run this, what happens? Boom, there it is. Davis County has 295,000. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. Okay, but what happened to now wait a second, what happened to what's his face? What happened to Madison? If the whole point is to compare, right now we got a problem. We can't compare. So let's do this. Let me introduce you to a way that we can be kind of cool about this, which is click on the compare sheet in VBA. Okay, so I'm going to double click on sheet 1 comparison here. If I double click it, when I double click this, where's my module? It's all gone. Did we lose it? No, we didn't, right? It's still in modules. It's over here. Still there. We're just in a different place to write some code. What's really interesting about this is there's 2 drop downs here, and I can click on this worksheet option on this top left drop down. And what that says is that's going to give me some options over here. And what I can do, for example, is it typed this in all by itself, right? I didn't type that in. I just selected worksheet and it put this in. So let's do a debug.print and let's just print a now and see what happens. What this means is every selection change in this worksheet, it's going to print the current date and time, which means what? So if I'm in this worksheet here, and if I come over here, let's see if I can spread this out. If I just change which cell is selected, that's considered a selection change. And so it's tracking all of those changes here based on this code, which is pretty cool. Any selection change at all this code is going to run every time. But instead of selection change, what I really want to do is I want to say, if this cell changes, then execute code. So instead of selection change, let's come over here and say, just look at change. So I'm selected the worksheet here. I've selected change over here. And I can come in here and say, if the target address, so if this A1 cell is changed, right? That's really what I'm asking here. If the target address is equal to, and I believe it comes in locked forms. You have to do anchored A1. If that is the target cell, then I want you to run this code. Get county data. How about that? So we can change anything over here, and we're not going to run the sub code. But if I come over here and change my county, it's automatically going to do it. Oh, I forgot my end if. Sorry, my bad. I need an end if at the end. So here's my if statement up here, and here's how I'm closing my end if, right? And that will change it. And so now this code gets run anytime I choose a different county. Isn't that cool? That's pretty cool.
Question, how come the private sub is always active and always run macro?
Yeah, good question. That's the nature of having it where it's at. Yeah, because it's inside this worksheet and because it's using this sub inside this worksheet, you don't have to actually push a button. You don't have to push run. It's like always watching to see if this is going to happen, and then it'll run it.
So if you were to loop inside this, that'd be bad.
That'd be bad. If we didn't have, yeah, it's a very good point. If we didn't have this if statement here and get county data was run for any cell change, it would be an unending loop, right? In fact, that reminds me, I'm going to save my file right now. Just going to save it. Just going to save it. Yes, so there is some danger here, right? Because if you change it and then you run code that changes it, it would never stop, right? It would go back and forth and change and change and change, and you'd have to kill it. Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's great. It's very powerful. There's some other options here as well, which are pretty cool. Um, anyways, yeah, we don't have to go into all those. But this, okay, so there's a couple more things I think would be valuable to do. So right now, what we've done is we're able to change the entire data. We can run this data based on any change to A1. When we change counties in A1, it's going to run that whole data. I think what we need to do is we need to scoot it over, right? We need to add a comparison, and then we're almost done, Ryan.
Mine's not that for some reason where that changes day one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be. Let me expand this out so we can see this a little bit better. So you should be in this sub called worksheet underscore change. Okay. And you should be in the correct spreadsheet. So it needs to be sheet one comparison is the one where this code needs to be at. Okay. And then you just got to make sure your if statement is accurate. So if target dot address, right? Because it's sending the target. So it's sending what cell you're in when you're changing that cell, right? So if I'm over here and I'm changing this cell, I could change this one. Then it's not going to run this code because it recognizes, oh, you're not in A1. So it's not going to do that. It's only going to run the code here if we change A1. Is that working yet?
I have no problems, and I had put the slash and change. I just said, sorry.
Yeah, you can delete this one. That's two. Is that what you did, Hiram? You just took this out? Yeah, you can just delete that one if that helps. Let me come check. JC?
You put it on
Oh, yeah, sure.
so yeah, see, I got all this going.
Worksheet change.
Change,
Sorry, if target
got
dot address,
anchored correctly.
then get county data. And if no, is that yeah, that's the name, right?
It kind of
And if and sum. Okay, so if you go back to
I go over here
A1.
too. Once again.
Nothing.
changes. Yeah.
Is your other code?
Yeah, my other code works here. I'll show you.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I go here, and
Oh, you have to comment out the stop. That's
I
what
have to comment out the stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because it stopped. It was like, okay, I'm done.
Okay.
There you go.
So if I do
Now that
this.
should work. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Sunshine, Texas. How we doing? Not terrible? Not terrible? Not terrible?
I had the same problem, but I deleted the stuff already.
Okay, perfect. Let's see.
And then if I do this, everything is
Okay, now yeah, I think you're still in break mode here. So if you do play or stop just to finish that sub. Yeah, now try it and see. YOLO. YOLO, California. There's a state called YOLO? I didn't know that. Yeah. Where you at? Get county data. Okay, that looks right. Worksheet change. Oh, I think you're missing a one. After the, yep, try that. See if that works. Great. Okay. We have a few more minutes. Oh, question? Sure, sure.
the very first one here.
Set data runtime. Offset 3 value, whole entire row. Let's see, what does it say? Does it say, do you get an error message?
The intermission is
That's it. Oh, and then debug, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Data, which is that. A1, entire column. County, which is that. Yeah.
I need to change the data or
Because it's using, because you set up that object right there, right? Dim county is range, set county equal to. So yeah, that should be good. County dot offset 0.3 because you're going over. Dot value, comma, 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 X a whole entire row. Go to your immediate window for a second and go down here and type in question mark and then type in county. What is that? Or dot value. Oh, this is country.
Oh.
I bet that's it. Yeah, drag your yellow arrow up one line. Or maybe just stop it and try it again. See what that says. Okay, great. Compare columns to page special transpose. Oh, true. You had all the letters there. That's the that's one of the hard parts. Okay, here's the other code here, module one. Here's what I've got. Don't forget to comment out or just take out the stop. And that should work. Okay, maybe last one or two things is how do we do the compare? So we've pulled in the data. We know which county it is. Anybody think? What's the best way to pull? How do we compare now based on what we've written?
I was thinking like, could we write something where it inserts a new column and it put this again?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, the benefit of doing that instead of adding another column to the right is that we don't have to change our code, right? On these compares, we're basically saying put all this in column two, right? Put this in column two. So by inserting a column, we can push what we have and then insert it in column two instead of rewriting all of this to put it in the next column over, right? So I think that's probably one of the simpler ways to do it. And it turns out adding a column is actually remarkably easy. So let's do it that way. Let's come up here, and before we start getting too fancy here, like up in the beginning of this code, I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to insert. So let's talk about how would I write this code, Elijah? What's the object that I want to start with? Probably the sheet. What's the name of the sheet that I want to insert a column into? Compare. And then once I hit compare, what do I do here? I don't even need to activate it. I could, but I don't even need to. The column. Yeah, very good. Which column? And there's a couple different ways to do it. Let's do columns too. How about that? Does that work? Once I hit dot here, I can say insert. I could do, yeah, there's a whole bunch of, let's just do that. Dot insert. And what that does is that's going to insert a second column there. So now when we run this again, let me make this a little bit bigger, and change my county here, we should get, oh, what happened? Oh, classic Excel. You know when you insert a column and it formats it like the column to the left? Okay, fine. You know what? You know what, Excel? I got you. I'm gonna fix Excel down here. I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna say, what do you call it? Auto fit. Let's auto fit this guy. So let's do the same thing. We'll do compare. That's the spreadsheet. We'll do columns two. This is after we have right. This is after we've just pasted the data in. So we'll do columns two, and it's called auto fit. We could record ourselves doing that if we didn't know, but it's called auto fit. And what that does is the same thing of double clicking the column, right? Double clicking that, it will resize it. That's what the auto fit is. So let's try this. So if I come back here, let's do, where's my Madison? Madison, Idaho, select that. Okay, not bad. Now it's much better, but it's still weird because it takes you over, right? So what if we say, what if we do say after this, what if we say, take me back to column A? What if we say, compare? Well, this is all already the active sheet. What if we just do cells? And what was that number? 16,385. It's like one more than the last column. Basically, it puts us on the second row, A2. Let's just say select, and that will put us on the next row at the very, so that will shift over the spreadsheet, right? So instead of seeing this after it's added and auto fitted, we can, it'll bring us back here. So let me add another county, Jefferson County, Idaho. There we go. How about that? That's not bad. Oh, good question. What if you want to start from scratch? Like a refresh. I like your style. Let's do this. Let's create another sub for that. I don't want to do that in the same sub. You know what I'm saying? Let's create another sub. What should we call it? Carson's clear data sub. Kill data. That seems violent. Carson's not a violent guy. Back me up, Carson. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say active sheet. And what we'll do is we'll say used range. So there's a property in the active sheet called used range. That is the smallest square of data on the sheet that incorporates all the data, right? That's that used range idea. And it's embedded. It's already there. We don't have to write it. It's already included. And then based off the used range, we kind of want to keep the first column here. So what if we offset that? Offset 0, 1. So we're saying, here's my used range in the sheet. I want you to move that range over one column so we can keep the first column. That's all I'm saying. Just keep the first column. And then we'll say clear, dot clear. And that's it. So if I come here, if I run this code, boom, it's all gone. That's it. And I can come here and we could do some more Fremont, Idaho. Nice. We could do some Jefferson, Idaho. There's an Idaho County. Where is Idaho County? How big is it? Oh, it's half the size of Madison. Interesting. Oh, it's dying. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? How we doing? Huh?
There any way my cells, even after deleting them, stayed the same size as they were? Is there any way to return the width of the cells as they're expanded back,
Like autofit?
like autofit to a blank column normally? Because
Yeah, there is.
that just looks clunky and chunky, whereas these are all nice.
Oh, interesting. So just F is like, why would that one become? Oh, because
it-
we used that before.
It was used before, and now
Oh,
we're
yeah.
all the cells will work without.
Yeah, if you deleted that column,
Sure, but
that's just kind of a
any
one-time
cell-
thing.
any
Like
cell will
going,
be cleared, but the size won't be changed when it's shifted.
oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. You could record that. You could do a macro and says, reshift this column. And then you could write the code that reshifts all those columns. Yeah, piece of cake. That'd be nice and clean too. That'd be good. Great. How's it coming? Pretty good? Nice. Questions, comments, concerns? We did a lot today. That's a lot. Worksheet. Oh,
I can get
yeah. It's a Mac thing. But you can't get at the actual.
Yeah, I can't like.
Really, I'd be surprised. Yeah, go back to that one more time. So this is on the, yep, comparison sheet, and that's worksheet, and it says, nope, you can't do anything. That's rough. Are you in break mode right now? Click on stop and try it now. See if that.
I'm trying to edit it so I can like change it here and all that. Better than me having to go back into the controllers.
I didn't let me write it. So I like write it first and then change it to worksheet.
Try to first and change it.
Oh, write the code? Yeah, he can't even write the code. Maybe that's it.
Like here, write it. And then up here it works.
Like after you finish writing it,
Yeah,
then
that's what.
Wow, that's interesting. That's a really interesting workaround.
Can I write that?
Yeah, you'll see it. This one right there. Okay, great. I think that's all I got for today. Any other questions, comments, concerns? What's the next upcoming assignment? Highlighting rows. When's that due? Tonight. Can we do it? It's really not that hard. It's one whole line of code. Took you 3 hours. One line of code. We just did, how many lines did we do? I don't know how many we did. We didn't do that many. Yeah, today. Not very many lines of code. But there's lots, so the whole purpose of today was just lots of ways to reference ranges and cells and the power of all that. And there's a lot there. So it's good stuff. Good job. Way to go. Good job, Ryan. Good questions. You good, Carson? Yeah, way to pull up, Ryan. Way to pull up. If target.address is equal to A1. Oh. Let's see. What is this? Winter 20, spring 26.
Import data from the internet, you can output data from itself.
If you have a place to put it. Well, we're actually gonna, that's like the yeah, it's more common to export it into a database. So we're actually going to do that as the final project for this class. It ends up being the final exam too. And we're going to pull data in from a database, manipulate the data, and export it back into a database. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Thanks, Elijah. Good work. We'll see you. What's that?